Hello, and thank you for joining us. This is the last of our webinar series, the last webinar in our series. We've had 4, and they've all just gone so well, and we've loved everyone who's been able to join us live. And thanks to all of you who are catching this later on and taking the time to watch some of these presentations so that we can save time and sell more in 2012. Today's webinar is going to be all about managing inventory, and this, in my opinion, is one of the most important things for anyone who's running, obviously, a product-based business. You know that it all revolves around your inventory. That's what you're making, that's what you're selling, and so we really want to talk about how you can streamline your sales and then utilize data to make smart business decisions. So for the Twitter geeks out there, we are available online at Stitch Labs, and you can find us stitchlabs.com, on Facebook at facebook.com/stitchlabs, and you can come say hello at any of those places. So let's look at your product-based business. We've got a lot of things going on as a product-based business, and many of you are selling in many different channels, but most people these days are having an online presence. They've got a website, they've got an online shop, then as well you've of course got your inventory. You are designing it, you're making it, you're ordering supplies, you're designing your packaging. So there's a lot of things to do around your business in the inventory realm. But then you've also got your product photography, your marketing and promotions, and then there might be a whole sales process around if you're also selling wholesale or consignment. A lot of our customers actually only sell wholesale. And then some of you may be doing events or direct sales, which means you're at trunk shows or craft fairs, street fairs. So looking at all that, I'm going to tell you a little personal story in terms of how I managed my business. I had for a long time a product line called Willow Tunes, where geek meets rock and roll. And talk about wearing all the many hats. I actually designed my postcards, I designed my jewelry, I designed my whole line of tees and a baby line. So that meant I was organizing the photo shoots and doing the packaging and the inventory and designing my website and managing all of that. So there's a lot to do, as you all know. And when you have a product business, there are so many hats that you're having to wear and so many complexities that you're having to sort of juggle that it can be really easy to be overwhelmed. So really that's kind of one of the big things that I want to talk about is how you can create these systems that are going to support you so that you're not as overwhelmed. You've got a lot to handle as it is, and it'd be great if we could sort of take a few of these things, even out of this list that we're looking at right now, and streamline them a little bit. Just even pulling out of this one that we're looking at, what if we could streamline our inventory management, our accounting and bookkeeping, our shipping, things like that, so that we can really kind of pull it together and have systems work for us, especially when it comes to the business and the sales side. So I often think we call ourselves small businesses, and I really figured out in my business I wanted to start thinking like a smart business. Not just small, but really like I wanted to grow. So how could I really start being really smart about my business? There's a common thing in, as you know, time and money is something that we're having to all wrestle with, but let's look at sustainable growth as a company. And I think being a smart business owner means that this is the kind of sustainable growth you're wanting to see. You're wanting to see that maybe you first, come right out of the gate and you have a nice little spike, and then maybe you plateau a little bit, and then maybe you, come out with a new line or something new, and then that gets another little spike, and then maybe you plateau, and then maybe come out with a new product line that everyone loves. And, the whole idea is that you kind of slowly grow and grow and grow, and that you're having this sustainable growth over time. So, year 1, year 2, and you're kind of consistently watching your business grow. However, what I find often happens, and this happens with so many small business owners, no matter what you're making, is you're growing, and you hit that plateau, and you're trying to handle all those many hats and all the overwhelm, and you run out of time, which means you're not designing new lines, which means all of a sudden you're running out of inventory, which means you're running out of capital and money. The next thing you know, you crash and burn. This is a very, very common unfortunate thing that happens with small business owners because you're trying to handle so many different things. So you must start thinking about being a smart business. And what does that mean exactly? Let's just break it down. So for example, if you are selling online, that means that you're going to need to start thinking about conversions from your online store. There are tried and true reasons why people don't buy online, and you'll want to make sure that you look into some of these key elements on your website. So for example, maybe your buy button is too small, or maybe they don't feel like the way that they're inputting their credit card is actually safe and secure on your website. Maybe they just can't see really good photos of the products that you're selling. All of these little things can actually lead to poor conversion on your website. So really start thinking about your online store and what are the little elements that you could improve to increase your conversion. Cost of goods sold, that's what COGS stands for. And that means you've got your costs, and then you, of course, have a price that you're selling them for, and you want to look at what that profit margin is. So, for example, if something costs me $5 to make and I sell it for $15, I've got a $10 profit margin there. And we're going to talk about this a little bit later, but sometimes your biggest seller isn't actually what's making you the most profit. So, and that can be kind of a sort of a double-edged sword in your business. You want to please these customers that love it, but you really are always going to want to try to think about how can you get your cost of goods a little bit lower so that you can increase your profit. As we all know, time equals money, and if you ask me, time and energy is probably one of your most precious resources as a small business owner, and all too often we get caught up in trying to do many things in our business that aren't actually making us money. So you come soon to realize that time equals money in your small business. Data equals clarity, and data I know isn't so sexy for a lot of designers and crafters out there, but as soon as you start actually having a business or running a business, the more you're able to have data and this information behind your sales, behind all of the work that you're doing, everything that you're putting time into, it's kind of that ROI, which stands for return on investment. So you're investing your time into all these things. You want to make sure that you've got a clear picture into what's working and what's not. And it's kind of almost like financial management, or even having a decluttered house. Like if you know where everything is, you know where everything's coming from, where it's going, everything has its place, it's going to make you feel a lot clearer mentally, and it's going to give you a window into how you can proceed smarter in your business. And again, yes, clarity just brings smart decisions. So back to that question, do you know what products of yours sell the best or maybe make you the most money? And I know for me, I had to keep a lot of that in my head for a long time. The ways that people are currently tracking sales and success, we have heard just a little bit of everything from our customers, and that is everything from very simple paper and pen, very old school. I mean, if you think way back in the day, they literally just used ledgers and maybe finally got carbon copy paper. And now, thankfully, we've got things like Excel, which are great, but it can also quickly just spiral out of control, and really there's just not efficient. I mean, we've had some customers that come to us with these just huge Excel spreadsheets, but it's not scalable. It's often, you're so afraid that it's going to crash. This software program is going to crash and lose all your data. There's some people that just have the classic old, paper and folders and paper everywhere. Or you might actually be using QuickBooks or something similar. There are a lot of programs out there that are aimed to offer this, and I actually used QuickBooks for a long time in my business. I know more about QuickBooks than I ever care to know, which I'll go into a little bit later. But there are those solutions. However, even doing that, this was part of my line. I had this whole line of T-shirts that went everything through men's and women's tees, but then I also had a baby onesie line and then toddler tees. And I knew that out of my entire line, this was the most popular design. What I was really frustrated, though, is that I knew it was really popular, but I wasn't able to really see any reports, even though I used QuickBooks, of seeing not only which one was most popular, like at a glance saying, okay, which one sells the most, my onesies, my adult tees, literally out of the ratio of how many I have sold versus how many I even ordered. So that's an important ratio. Like I might have only ordered a few of the toddler tees, but they all sold out. Well, no kidding, because I only have a few of them. So really recognizing those ratios, but I had no way of seeing that. And I had, if I even did have an inkling, I had to keep in my head, like, okay, I do know that the large men's tees sell a lot, but how would I know, if that's selling actually more or making me more profit than, say, the 3 to 6 month size in the onesies? I knew the capabilities of software out there, and I was so frustrated over and over and over with QuickBooks, and I just constantly kept thinking that there has to be a better way for me to have this data. Thankfully, there is Stitch Labs, and I discovered this last fall, and I'm now on board with them, as most of you know, and it is precisely for this, all of these problems all in one place. It really uses that phrase of stitching it all together, because it's all about connecting your online sales with your offline sales. Many people who have product-based businesses nowadays are selling in more than one channel. So if you are selling maybe wholesale and trade shows, but you also have an online store, you're able to have all of this data, both online and off, in one place, which really helps you and gives you the opportunity of running a report off of these like variations and sales channels. And we're going to get into this a little bit. So just to clarify what Stitch helps with on the business side, inventory management, especially if you are selling in more than one channel, but even if it's one, it gives you some great reporting. Contact management, which we actually went over in last week's webinar, which if you missed it, there is a whole webinar that you can get that presentation for. And it's really helpful because I find that I had all my contact information in so many different places, and many people that I know do. I just think contact management is still such a mess. But as a business owner, to know that you can have all your customers in one place, all your wholesale consignments, even down to like your press contacts, all in one place, Stitch really lets you organize those well, because you can tag things and things like that. Orders and invoices, of course, and also even actually packing slips. You can customize your logo on all those things, so you have a very professional thing. You're not having to like open up Word and cut and paste and everything. It's all in here already for you. Expenses, not only important to know what's coming in from all your sales, but then really having an eye on what's going out, so that you can sort of have a better measure and temperature on your profit and loss. Multiple users. This is one of my favorite features, because as I told you, I was using QuickBooks, and I finally did bring on a merchandise manager, and as you grow, most anyone out there, hopefully you are bringing on some other people to help you, because it is a lot to do by yourself. So as soon as you do bring on an additional person, and like I said, in my case, we were using QuickBooks, but we were having to like shuffle this one file back and forth to each other, because there was no multiple user opportunity, and it was literally the software program that had to live on each of our computers. Stitch actually offers a way where there can be multiple users. So even if you are having an assistant, or maybe you have a sales rep that lives across the country, across town, or even halfway around the world, they're able to log into Stitch and help manage your inventory, contacts, place orders, whatever they're helping you with. And then again, this detailed reporting, which you're going to see why I'm so excited about it. It is pretty awesome. And I'm actually going to introduce you to Jake and let him take the wheel for a little while. For any of you guys who have called in or been setting up your stuff and have questions, Jake is the nice fellow that has been most with our customers and helps answer a ton of questions. So he's going to give us a little tour.
Okay, wonderful. So as Willa said, I'm not going to take you through a complete demo of the product, but I'll take you through a little bit of the demo that really is important to show people. I know we've got several videos on our website, but we never really get to show people how the inputs really affect the output in our data. And I know we've had a webinar last week about contact management, so I'm going to really show you two things. I'm going to show you how the contact management helps you understand who's buying what and which channels are important. And I'll also show you how setting up your product the way we have you set that up in Stitch really helps you understand your data better. So when you're looking at the home screen, you see our main navigation bar across the top, and I'm looking at contact specifically. And what you can see here is I've got my account integrated with Etsy, and maybe you're a Shopify account, or you might have another web store that we're going to integrate with in the future. And there's one thing that I would like to point out is even if we're not integrated with your current shopping cart, for example, Big Cartel, or you might be on Big Commerce, it doesn't mean Stitch isn't right for you. That just means that those channels won't be as integrated as the ones that we're already partnered with. So here you can see I've got all my Stitch customers, and this is everybody that's not an Etsy customer, and it might actually be vendors or other people that I do business with. I can house all those people in Stitch. So as you see my cursor here, it's by vendors. I've got retailers. I've actually got my Big Cartel sales in here. I've got retailers and trunk shows and even consignment people. So I'm able to put in which type of person I'm dealing with and where those sales link to. And I also have the ability to quickly search for people and actually export these lists so I can use them in email marketing campaigns as well. So that's another great feature. But anyways, what I want to show you as far as how these contacts lend themselves to reports is I can take us to the report area, and I'll switch it to, since I've actually opened my business as a time frame, and I'll select a report. And here I'll select contact sales report by type. And you can remember that I had in there retailers, I had consignment, I had Big Cartel, I had Etsy. And as you can see here, we give you top line data that gives you some big nuggets about your business and what's doing well and what products are doing well and what customers are doing well. And then you can see the graphs and charts. And these are very interesting because it shows here, for example, that 60.7% of my business is coming from retailers. And I can see if I slide over the charts, trunk shows are doing 13.5, consignment does 10%, Etsy does 8.9, and Big Cartel does 6.9. And then you can slide over to the right and actually see the dollars associated with those percentage values. So this really helps you understand your dollar mix. And then you can go down to the bottom and see the units and how those correlate to dollars. So for example, my retailers do 53.8% of my units, and actually Etsy does 36.3% of my units. So I can see that while Etsy brings me a lot of units, it doesn't bring me nearly as many dollars. So I'm pushing a lot of volume through my Etsy account. Okay, so that gives you just a quick overview of how you can see which sales channels are very effective for your business. And that's very helpful and information to understand. The second thing I want to take you through is really all about inventory. And people ask us on a regular basis, they say, hey, Stitch guys and Stitch gals, like, why can't I just upload my spreadsheet into your inventory? Why do I have to input these products? And we have a simple explanation for that. It's really, you're coming to Stitch because you're looking for a better way. And we feel like by organizing your inventory in a more efficient way, you're going to get better data and you're going to be able to make smarter decisions. So what I'm going to do here is just show you how to quickly create a product family, because we did make it really easy for you to do. Sophia, I'm going to do infinity dress, and then I can put in any kind of information that I want here about a description of a product family, and you can put in any information. This information is going to go on line sheets, and it's going to help you present your line to a retailer or a consignment store if you choose to do that, or if you sell through that channel. Product tags allow you to create different categories of your products. So I know that these are dresses, and I also know that these are going to be in apparel. So it's a nice way to tag all your products in bigger categories that you can analyze. And then I also know that I don't want to put in every single product that I carry. That takes a long time. So we make it a lot easier for you to Stitch. So I say, I know I carry these Sophia dresses by small, medium, and large. And then by option, the other option set I have is I can say, I know I carry these in 5 different colors. So I'm going to say nude blush, purple slate, mocha, and you'll see the system remembers everything that you put in the past. The other colors I have might be black and blue. All right, So that's simple. And now Stitch has created 15 different products in the catalog. I don't have to create every single product I carry. That takes a long time. And then pricing structure, I can go in and say what I sell these for at wholesale. I can have several different prices. So I say $100 at wholesale, and I'll say my retail price is $200. And you can see you can put in as many prices as you choose. And finally, I'll be able to upload images, because this, again, helps you with line sheets when you want to represent your line to an outside account like a retail shop or a boutique. So I'll quickly upload those. And then the last step in the process really is about putting in your cost. I know Willow mentioned cost of goods sold. This would be how much these products cost you to make or to buy. And I'll just say that my wholesale cost on these to bring into my system is $50. And then you can put in anything that you have on hand, but you can also put that information in later. So there you have it. I've got that whole product family created. And we show people this in several different videos on our site. You can see I've got all the products in the system with all my pricing information, and I can go ahead and associate those pictures using my different filters here. So you say, okay, Jake, what is that going to do for me? How does that help me understand my business better? So again, I'll take us back to reports. And what's really cool about setting up those product families that way is that you're going to get excellent information as you make sales. So we're just going to assume that I've been making sales for a year. Now you can look at these obviously daily, but I'm just going to give you the example of a year. And I can generate a report by a product family drill down. So again, you've got top line data that gives you actionable information that you can make decisions on. But you've also got these awesome pie charts. And you notice that I built the Sophia Infinity dresses, and I can come to this pie chart and I can easily see that out of all my business, these Sophia dresses do 26.6% of my dollar sales. And then I can click on that and I can see which percentage of each of those dresses works for my business. So I might look at this information and say, wonderful, 17.7% of my business is the small black Sophia dresses in this product line. And that might tell me, okay, I'm going to go make 100 of these Sophia Infinity dresses. And out of that 100, 20 of them are going to be small and black. But that's just the top. That's just the very beginning of the data. You want to look farther into it. You can come down, and because you put in your cost, you can see the profit. So I can come down to my Sophia Infinity dresses, and I can see of my product families, that's my third most profitable. And I can click on that chart, and I can see, okay, small purple slate, medium purple slate, and small black. Those are my top 3 most profitable items within that family. But I can take it down another level and see units. So the wonderful thing is I can look at the bottom and look at my Sophia Infinity dresses, and I can see that I sold 43 of those over the last year. So if I went off that initial estimate of dollar percentages, that would have been a mistake, because I would have said I'm going to go out and make 100 of these, and that's just too many. I only sold 43 last year. So I come down and see the units, and I can click on this chart, and I can see that of my 43 dresses that I sold in Sophia last year, 8 of those were small and black. So the smarter decision is, okay, I've got to make dresses. How many should I make? I should probably make 10 to start, and 2 of those should actually be the small black dresses. So again, using data to make smart business decisions, that's what Stitch is all about. And that's why we have people put product families in the way we do, so you can easily see what percentage of your business is being sold through which channel. There are a lot of other awesome reports to show you which customers are buying what, which sizes, colors, designs, all different types of information that you put into your product family. So that's really the gist of what we wanted to show you as far as the outputs that go in from putting in these contacts and product families. And that being said, I'll turn it back over to Willow.
Awesome. Thanks, Jake. Okay, so what I love about all of that is that even if the idea of data and everything just scares you like crazy and you're kind of like, what? The thing is, all you actually need to do is input your inventory and then allow these reports to work for you. And it's kind of great because as soon as your sales are going through there, this is all just going to happen. You don't even have to do anything else, and you'll get better and better actually at being able to, get a window into that and start utilizing that data. You don't have to know it right out of the gate, but the fact that you have access to it and you kind of play around with it and start seeing some trends in your own sales, pretty awesome. So just to even go into this whole thing a little bit further in terms of why this data is so important is kind of like what Jake said, is really even just deciding what to order out of your entire line. What design or style is selling the best. And then a big one is how much to order of each variant. To be able to go into the size and the color specifically and take a look. In fact, our founder, Brandon Levy, has a great example of that. When he was finally at the level that he was ready to do some cut and sew for his t-shirt line, he had a t-shirt line called Naked Cotton for a long time that led him to starting Stitch because he saw such a need for a solution for the inventory management. And so he was finally at that level of ready to go cut and sew, and in order to get the price level that he wanted for the cut and sew, he had to do 800 of them. And so there he had to decide, okay, well, how many smalls should I do? How many mediums should I do? And he didn't know. So he literally went out and just got 200 of each size, 200 smalls, mediums, larges and extra larges. And what ended up happening in the end of it, he learned his lesson the hard way. He actually sold 400 of those t-shirts. But the thing is he had 400 left because so many people bought them out of the 200 mediums and the 200 larges, and he had all these extras on each side of the coin in his extra larges and things like that. So it's really important to know how much to order of each variant. And when you have this data behind there, it's going to help you make those decisions way smarter as opposed to just making it up in your head or keeping it all in mind. So having a clear picture on your profit margin, I really love what he talks about there, what Jake talks about there in that profit margin, and being able to look in that data is so smart, because we often speak to customers about their best sellers, but many times they're so focused on selling their popular item, and I certainly was with my Eat, Sleep, Rock, Repeat, that you forget to focus on what's your most profitable item. So you might know what your best seller is, but if that product isn't helping you make a profit, it won't be long before you could possibly go out of business. You're just simply not making the money off of it. Stitch makes it really easy for someone to quickly see if they're making a product, making a profit, and which products are going to actually help you get there. And then this one I love as well, what products to market in each channel. I wouldn't even have thought of this, but Stitch, because you can sort of look at what you're selling online versus what you're selling offline, I'm going to give you a little bit of an example in that. This is the product option drill down sales report, and this is looking at online sales with a particular line. So this one is actually set up in the variant of designs. Again, kind of like how Jake showed you that you can make it by color, by size. This product family is specifically set up with also an additional variant called design. So out of all of these, in my online sales, I can see it's clear that mustaches are like going through the roof. It's a huge hit. And then everything else sort of slowly goes down from there. The donuts, the kitties, all those designs are way less. But online, people love mustaches. Now, offline, you see here that all of a sudden there's these, like, for example, donuts, they're totally kicking butt just as much as mustaches. And then owls, they weren't even listed in this other one. And granted, that might be because you actually never sell your owl design online. But it's such a great example of having a window into each of these sales channels and really being able to see. So how you can use that then in your business is, for example, you can, if you're looking at your online sales and you know this, now you can change, say, the front page of your website to really feature these leaders in your sales, and know that that's what's going to be selling the most online. Or maybe it means actually that you want to try to, or maybe you've been featuring that the whole time and that's why it's doing so well, and you desperately need to try to do some more marketing around your birds. Same thing with offline sales. Maybe your actual catalog on the cover has these things that are selling the most because you're finding that your stores or at trunk shows and stuff are selling certain designs. Super, super helpful. Right now, we've talked a lot about how you can like sync your Etsy orders, and we've got some really cool things with this integration, like it relists automatically. We also right now have integration with Shopify, and what that means is that, for example, if you had 2 shops, you've got one on your website that is on Shopify, and then you also sell on Etsy. What that means is that if something sells out of your Stitch inventory, and say you only have 3 left, and this happens a lot. Like I'm down to a lot of my minor inventory right now, and so if I have 3 left of a certain size and one sells on Etsy, it automatically comes out of my inventory in Stitch. Then one sells on Shopify, it automatically comes down off of Stitch. And with Etsy, if you guys are familiar with the way that works, is that you have to relist a product. Stitch actually will auto relist it, and if you set it up as such, you can say only relist this if there is that product left. So in this case, if it auto relists that on Etsy, then it would make sure that nobody could buy that on Shopify anymore. So it's pretty cool. These are just the 2 we have right now. Jake made a great point that even if you don't have one of these stores, still so helpful to put all of your sales through Stitch so that you're able to access this powerful reporting. Also keep in mind that we have so many more integrations to come. We actually just came out of beta in September, so these were the first 2 out of the gate that we integrated with. We're really hoping to have Big Cartel, many more, Magento, many more are on the horizon. So hold tight and stick with us. And the sooner you have your inventory and everything on the system, the sooner you're going to be able to run these reports looking at the entire year. Another integration that we have right now is QuickBooks. I mentioned to you earlier that I used QuickBooks for a long time. And so it's nice because if you are really tied to QuickBooks, maybe you manage a lot of other businesses in there and you want to have that combined with your inventory business, you are going to be able to have that one-way integration. Something to note, many of you guys are using Outright already, and they're friends of ours. They were actually on the call last week. They did the accounting and taxes webinar that we had last week. Outright is a really powerful program. It's literally practically like having QuickBooks, except for that it's all online. It syncs automatically with all your bank accounts and makes it so that you can actually manage all of your accounting and taxes and everything. One thing that Outright doesn't do, though, however, is inventory and specifically down to your products. So that's where Stitch comes in, and we're really excited about a potential partnership with them that would integrate so that you would not only have the powerfulness of that accounting, but you would also have your specific product-based and inventory-based sales data. Another thing that Jake mentioned just briefly, but didn't go into it specifically, is line sheets. And what line sheets are if you have a product line that you're wanting to sell wholesale to retail stores, what retail stores look for is a line sheet. And what that means is, so here's my entire product family for the, in this case, a sheer jersey scarf. And I've got all my information in there, and this has my current up-to-date information with what my wholesale price is for these and what my retail price is. And I'm able to, right from Stitch, print a line sheet. And so there's a little Stitch Labs logo here in the top right corner, but you actually can totally customize this with your logo. Obviously, this would also be your line with the photos and the colors, and then you can decide which of these details you actually want on your line sheet. But it's so great because right out of the gate, all your inventory is in one place. You can click and just print this, up to the minute, totally current line sheet of all of your data and quickly get that off to wholesale and retail stores, which is going to increase the, lapse time basically that you're able to update them on your current products and then get those orders in. So all of this is just to illustrate that having the right systems in place are what is going to help your business grow. It's about being a smart business, having these systems that are working for you so that you can concentrate on selling your product and making your product and doing the parts of your business that you love, and letting Stitch essentially help all this, with the not so fun stuff, the inventory and the finances and all that stuff. But you're able to then go in and utilize the system that's helping you. Thank you so much for everyone who has joined us in this webinar series so far. We've loved having all of you on the live call, and if you've missed any of them, please make sure to go back and watch all the presentations. We had 4 in total. And if you have any questions at all for us here at Stitch Labs or any of the folks over at Outright, Josh of Custom Living Solutions, or our friends over at Shoeboxed, please just reach out and let us know. We're all here and ready to answer questions for you. We hope you all have a very successful 2012 and save time and sell more.